Good evening. We're broadcasting today from the BBC. That won't go on there. I'm the editor. Hi, Mom. I finally made it. Oh, my. Give a monkey a camera. Well, I'd like to talk some about the Tao Te Ching, and there are many different translations. I've got, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 at home, and they're all good, and they have commentaries. But there's one I've got recently I really like. It's by Ellen Chen, C-H-E-N, and I'll publish that. I'll make that information known as to how you can get it if you want it. But this whole Tao Te Ching, which means the book of the way of power. Tao is the way and Te is power, or life force, energy. It's said that it was written by Lao Tzu, which translated means the old dude, or the old guy. And it is said that he lived somewhere in about 300 BC. Some people say 600, but now they're saying probably about 300 BC, which is a long time ago, right? So he was a keeper of the archives at the imperial court, a librarian in essence, and a man who seemed to get along quite well with all. Then one day he decided he had had enough of community life and he was going to take off. So he did. And he got on his water buffalo, which was the Ferrari of the time, and went up over the mountain pass. Well, fortunately for us, this man at the mountain pass, who was guarding the pass, stopped him and said, "Hey, old dude, why don't you write down what you know before you leave?" And he said, "Okay, I will." Well, I don't know how long it took him to write it, but there are 81 of these poems, these powerful poems, these writings that he was able to put down. And he left them there and went on his way. And who knows what happened after that. He just decided he was going to go, which we all will at some point. So what I have here with Ellen Chen's translation is chapter 16, or number 16 of the Tao Te Ching. Now, I could have jumped into any of them, but this one is the one that asked to be spoken today. Reach the pole, P-O-L-E, reach the pole of emptiness. Abide in genuine quietude. 10,000 things flourish together. I am to contemplate their return. Now that's just the first part of it. Reach the pole of emptiness. Emptiness meaning a full emptiness. We have poles like polar caps. We have a North Pole and South Pole for Earth. Well, this is one pole of emptiness. The pole of emptiness that is full. Here in our society, we have a pole of emptiness. When we think about emptiness, often we think of it as something dreaded, that we don't want to be emptied. Never let us be empty. Keep the music going, you know, keep something going. Let my foot jiggle, you know, let me go bowling, let me do something, but dear Lord, don't let me be empty. Well, he's talking about an emptiness that's different, that we have to open up from an empty place in order to be filled with life itself, with the Te, T-E, the life force. The 10,000 things that flourish together are all these things that are arising today. Everything that we see, everything around us. And he says they flourish together. It means we all flourish together. not apart. I've tried to make it my own individual way. You know, I would have much preferred it that way, and it was a terrible thing when I found out I needed people. I didn't know what to do for a while, and then I said, well, okay, so be it. 10,000 things flourish together. I am to contemplate their return. Contemplate. Right in the middle of that word is templum, T-E-M-P-L-U-M, contemplate, contemplate. A templum is a clear, open space, an empty space. And the augurs of old, the ones in Rome in particular I'm thinking of, augur is a seer, an augur is a diviner, an augur is a person who opens up to know thingness in order to understand. The augurs of old in Rome, they would go to a clear open space in the forest, clear open space in the city, a clear open space with either a question in mind or no question in mind at all. And they would sit. This clear open space was called a templum. And that's how contemplate comes about. We go to clear open space, inside and outside if possible. And open with a question that we have, or with no question at all, and see what arises, what appears. Well, I thought, all right, I'll test this out then, if that's the way that is. So I went to the forest, and I went to a clear open space. And just as I got there, a red-tailed hawk, which is one of my totems, a powerful image, red-tailed hawk came flying right above me, about 15 feet up, circled, let out a yell, and took off. I thought, well, okay. I believe this. Reach the pole of emptiness. Abide in genuine quietude. 10,000 beings flourish together. I am to contemplate their return. Now things grow profusely. Each again returns to its root. To return to the root is to attain quietude. It is called to recover life. To recover life is to attain the everlasting. To know the everlasting is to be illumined. The image that comes here is image of a plant or a tree. That we return to the root of who we are as walking plants, as walking trees. We return to our root, and then we open out of our root, and all things flourish. So this practice of Wu Chi Ku, as I'm calling it, this practice of quietude, of moving through everyday life from our root, is one that allows all things to flourish. The only way you can know that is to do it. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of words. Not knowing the everlasting, one commits evils wantonly. Knowing the everlasting, one becomes all-containing. You know, when you're in love, you know the everlasting. You know, when you're in love, you contain everything. The whole world looks different. You're coming from the root source of it all when you're in love. To be contained, to be all-containing is to be public. Knowing the everlasting, one becomes all-containing. To be all-containing is to be public. To be public is to be kingly. Now, what does this mean, being kingly and queenly? Sounds like politics or something. I have a different take on it. It's that each of us is a sphere of energy. Each of us is a world unto ourselves, in a certain sense. Each of us has a center, and each of us opens from the center. And we are the king, the queen of this world. So how do we become kingly and queenly according to this ancient language? How do we do that? We do that by fully inhabiting our world, by fully inhabiting who we are. Not deviating for a split second, being fully present and aware, as so many have talked about today here. To be kingly is to be like heaven. To be like heaven is to be like Tao. To be like Tao is to last long. This is to lose the body without becoming exhausted. Now what the heck does that mean, lose the body without becoming exhausted? Well, we come from the great mystery, the source. In that sense, we're all sorcerers. We are embodyings of the source of the great mystery. And if we exhaust our body, what that means is that we have allowed ourselves to go beyond the body. Now, as I'm getting older, you know, white hair, and, you know, and all this stuff about getting old, I'm finding that it's true that I can go ahead and put my burdens on the other shore, so to speak. It is true that I can lay up my treasures in heaven, thinking of heaven as the place that is where one is when one drops the body. Now, heaven is not way over there somewhere. Heaven is right here. I was going to make a Jesus watch one time. I didn't. I just had the idea. I haven't worn a watch for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. But the Jesus watch was going to have now at every number. And Jesus' hands would be going around. And I'd say, what time is it? Well, according to my Jesus watch, it is now. You can see why I didn't need to make it. Because it always says now, and I didn't need to have a reminder of that necessarily. So now is eternity. Now is heaven.